Now, let's go to Leeds because our correspondent Alex Forsyth is there talking to people and testing the temperature of how people are feeling ahead of this budget and what they want to hear. Alex.
Yeah, hello, Joe. Welcome to Pudsey. Pudsey Leisure Centre, in fact, a very busy leisure centre right in the middle of Rachel Reeves's constituency. You can see why we've come here. And we've got people from a range of different sectors to try and get a sense of what they are looking out for in this budget. We can talk first to Sarah Buttigieg, who is the Director of Green Energy Switch. Sarah, thank you for being with us. So energy, of course, a huge concern when it comes to some people's bills. What are you wanting to hear from the Chancellor?
Yeah, so I just want energy to actually be a focus in the budget. I think if you speak to anybody, Green Energy Switch, the company I work for, we deliver home energy visits to the most vulnerable in society. And actually, if you speak to people in society, energy bills are the thing they are most concerned about. And I'm concerned it might get missed from the budget. If you look back to 2020, pre-energy crisis, there was around 3 million people in fuel poverty. Now you're looking at 6.5, and those numbers just can't be ignored anymore. There needs to be more done.
Of course, what we're hearing from the Chancellor ahead of this budget is that pressure on public finances. So while she's talking about investment in the NHS and education, we're led to believe there are going to be tough decisions across the board. Is that a point of concern?
It is a point of concern. I think just the fact the cost of living has gone up so much, energy is just such a massive part of that, and people are having to make the choice of eating or heating their homes, and I just don't think in 2024 anyone should be living in those circumstances. So I do think there needs to be an increase in the warm homes discount, and I think the criteria needs to be expanded because the most vulnerable in society obviously need to be looked after, but there is a number of people that are falling into those brackets and they are just being ignored at the moment.
Sarah, thank you. Someone else who works with some of the most vulnerable in society is Kate Wareham from the Choir with No Name. Now, you work with people who are facing homelessness or are marginalised in society. What are the big budget issues that you're looking out for?
So our choir members all have experience of homelessness, and we meet together every week to sing, to eat and to build community from which to make some good decisions and move forward in our lives. For our members, I think it's all about the homelessness services that are just chronically underfunded. There's a cliff edge coming very soon, and people are working incredibly hard to meet need that just keeps rising and rising. And that's compounded by the housing system at the moment, where too many people are in temporary housing, and the whole thing's coming together. We've got a huge problem. We've got to address that.
Rachel Reeves is saying that this is going to be a budget that's going to put pounds in people's pockets. They're going to get the economy growing. They're going to invest in public services. Does that fill you with confidence?
It does to an extent. We need to see health and social care improve. Our members find it really difficult to access the support that they need. But we've heard things before, so we need to see change this time. We need to see things change so that the people that get lost in the system have their voices heard and get the help that they need.
Kate, thank you. And we're also joined by James Barwise from the Road Haulage Association. Thanks for being with us today. So we've heard a lot about potentially the taxation choices that the Chancellor might make to fill what she calls a black hole in the public finances. What are you looking out for that might affect your industry?
Well, it's been a very difficult 2 years for the road haulage industry. There's been a chronic lack of investment. So there's a whole host of areas we would love to see announcements made on. For example, we would love to see the government honour the commitment from the previous government around the £8 billion of Network North funding to fix our crumbling roads. We would also love to see the funding from the skills boot camps made permanent. This is getting a new generation of people behind the wheel, learning how to operate a HGV and plugging the driver shortage that operates a lot of our headlines. But we have to be blunt. If you ask hauliers here in Yorkshire and up and down the country, what is their main concern? Is my business going to be viable over the next 12 months? So the message to the Chancellor is a direct one. Do not add to the financial hardship that businesses are facing up and down the country.
And by financial hardship, is there anything specific that you are concerned about? I mean, the Chancellor's talking about this budget for growth. Are there things you think might potentially hamper that decision she might make?
So there's been a lot of speculation in the media about whether the Chancellor will increase fuel duty. Now, on paper, that sounds like it'll be a minute increase, 5 pence per litre, for example. But we know through analysis that that is an extra £2,700 per haulier per year in this country. That is a cost that local businesses simply cannot afford. And we know that has consequences on livelihoods. Through analysis, we've shown it may lead to a loss of 5,000 jobs over the next 5 years. 494 hauliers went into administration last year, and we know that figure is going to be higher this year. And this is an industry that the government has to rely on to support economic growth and jobs. So the message has to be support local business and freeze fuel duty.
Thank you all very much. That's James, Sarah and Kate. Just a reminder, Joe, that of course a lot of this budget is going to be focused on Westminster, the political and economic consequences of the choices that the Chancellor will make. But all of that comes with a very real world impact that you can hear from people who will be watching very closely here in Pudsey and elsewhere.
Absolutely. Alex Forsyth, thank you very much. And we'll come back to you and guests after the budget has been delivered. As Alex Forsyth was saying, of